Hello and welcome back to Building on a Budget Models. I'm Thomas and this is the first part of the Mazda RX-7 R1 in 1/24 scale by Tamiya in association with Kent Models. Now I've got this Fujimi over-fender set here and I'm going to use these parts which are actually intended for the Toyota Vitz, but I've compared them to the bodywork of the RX-7 and they seem to fit quite well. It's moulded in this quite nice gloss black. However, if you intend to do a bright colour like the yellow which I plan, this will need a lot of priming. I first test fitted the parts using white tack. This means that you can move them around and make sure that they're in the right place. As I said before, these aren't originally designed for this kit, however with a bit of work they do work. Then used a bit of light sanding just to smooth them out and remove any flash. Kit instructions also suggest to remove the side indicators. I think this is because this is intended to be an American spec version. I sanded them down and also chose to sand down the indicators at the front and rear, as well as the moulded RX-7 on the rear, just to give it a stripped down track feel. There's a few mould lines on the roof and on the front and rear bumpers which just need to be sanded down. And once I was happy with my choice of parts, I put them into place and taped them securely before using some Tamiya extra thin cement to fit them into place. I also clipped this rear wheel arch just to help it fit. Left that for a few hours to make sure that it was all secure, then removed it. I then used some Mr. Hobby white putty to fill in the gaps. I found I could smooth this down quite well with my finger. It's quite thin stuff, but does set quite quickly, so time is of the essence. This was also from Kent Models. I left this to cure for 24 hours and then used some 600 grit sandpaper to smooth out those joins. Moved up to 1000 grit before trying out some decals. Printed these off to make sure that the size and positioning was correct. These are all custom ones of my own design. It was then primed in Tamiya fine white primer before I gave it 4 coats of TS16 gloss yellow from Tamiya. Now these decals here are on a clear background. The light yellow really works with these. If it was a darker car, you probably wouldn't see them so well. I chose some sponsors that would work well and also that reflected some of the parts that I'm adding. Now this Japanese text here I think actually says Ken Models, but it's part of the logo which Kent Models use. I should say here that the design I'm going for is a kind of tuner drift JDM car. Then I did some extra sponsor logos to go along the side skirts. It's nice to use the flash of red. These NGK logos, however, were printed on white decal paper. This meant they need to be cut really carefully around the edge. I wasn't planning on using many of the kit decals, and that included the badge. The wheels that I'm using are Advans, so it made sense to put Advan decals on. Now for the right hand side of the car, I decided to go with a style choice that I've seen on some really cool looking Japanese tuner cars. This is where the decals were completely mirrored from the other side. According to Ben from Kent Models, they did this to make sure that all the decals are exactly the same size and position. Decided to add my own logo at the back. Nice thing about my logo is that it goes onto light colours like yellow really well. Also added some more of the Japanese text. Now Kent Models used this logo with this anime girl, which I thought, since it was round, would work really well just above the wheel arches. Tell me what you think in the comments. These were printed onto white decal paper so that you could get the white of the skin. There's also some Tamiya decals at the back. The bonnet here is shown in just the bare black plastic. Now for the bonnet and some of the other aero parts, I decided to use some of this Tamiya fine weave carbon fibre decals. Also decided to use this wing from the Aoshima part set. Also comes with its own carbon fibre, but I preferred the textured feel of the Tamiya stuff. Simply cut this into the right length. As the wing was already in black plastic, I didn't see the need to paint it. The smoother it is, the better the decals will go on anyway. Now when the decals had all set, I then used some extra thin cement just to join the side plates together. This went together really simply. For the bonnet, I just measured it by placing it on top of the decal paper, put down some decal solution first, and then very, very gently pulled it over. As I said before, the bonnet wasn't painted, that made it as smooth as possible. Now the main task here is to move it into the right position as quickly as possible without tearing or wrinkling it. Added some more decal solution to the top, and then I gave it a bit of a blast with a low powered hairdryer. Now, it looks pretty bad here, but I left it overnight and I was much happier with it. Some of the decal solution residue will go away with some water. I then worked out that I had some spare decals in the stash. These Repsol ones are from a Subaru Impreza, and I thought they'd go really well on top of the carbon fibre. I can't print my own white decals like this, so these were really useful. I then decided to put the other one on top of the bonnet. Here it is with some gloss clear. And here is the bodywork with all the decals. I also test fitted it with the chassis and interior, which I will show you in the next video. Let me know what you think of my livery design in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.